and high school and college and all of that, and also elders working in support of the risks that young people often don't or not afraid to take. I think the second thing in this sort of list, right, is youth development can be very empowering, right? You empower a young person, you bring them up, you sort of consider yourself as a parent. But when you think of youth organizing, you're also thinking that they're autonomous from you. In other words, they are not there for you. In some ways, you're actually learning from them. And I always, throughout my years, right now, I've been doing youth organizing now since I was 20, I'm 32 right now. So I've been doing it for a very long time, and I realized that the young people fuel me, and some of the young people that I worked with are now like literally part of my family. Individual versus community, right? The emphasis in youth development is on individual, right? So, you know, how do you feel if you, for example, people who do press conferences from the youth development world tend to be like, oh, are you worried about if the person speaks well? Are they gonna feel bad? Maybe they shouldn't do this. And you tend to hear this a lot from social workers who try to get their young people involved, right? They're more interested in the development of the young person. For me, it's always about the community, and I would say the world, right? So for me, when I was a youth organizer, there were young people who didn't do good jobs at press, and I agitated them, right? I challenged them to say, actually, I know that this is hard for you, and everyone, you know, people generally are scared of public speaking, but I need you to do better, right? Because we're in a particular moment right now where you're a leader, and I expect you to do better, right? And when I say that, I mean I worked with all different types of young people. The first set of young people that I worked with as a youth organizer, and actually youth development, right, were gang members, right? So often people think, oh, well, they're not going to amount to anything, or often people think, oh, they have such tough lives. And I work with young people, you know, whose fathers were in jail, who face, you know, physical, emotional, and in some cases sexual abuse. And so for me, my job as a youth organizer was to connect what they were doing in terms of their own personal lives to a broader need to fight for the community, right? So it wasn't about like, you need therapy and, you know, and people always need therapy, right? Everyone benefits from therapy, but I'm not sitting and crying with them. I'm like, actually, how do you transform your own personal experience into a political opportunity to move the world and to move your community and challenge politicians to do better for your lives? That is a political difference that people who do youth organizing often have to understand, right? And it's hard. I'm not saying I don't care about young people, but I'm saying that my first role was to connect them to the community and use their, you know, like in the same way that I do, right? To use our collective pain to actually transform the world and not feel personally responsible or personally brought down by that. And that also is a very, like, I'm glossing it over, it's a big challenge, right? There's certain, like, I've had, like, probably anywhere from, I can't even keep counting more, maybe 20 or so young people that literally have lived with me. So this line is really important in terms of my political identity, right, and where we are as youth organizers, where I am as a youth organizer. But definitely, yeah, definitely I have to take care of individuals, empower them, deal with their individual needs, but at the same time, connect them to a broader community. Sympathy and empathy, right? There's a big difference when you feel, or you say that you feel the way that someone feels versus really understanding the way a young person feels, or really understanding what it takes to really build that power, to really organize and to challenge systems, as well as to deal with your own personal life, right? A lot of young people that I worked with didn't go to college. You know, a lot of them still are struggling for jobs. And I'm still in the space where both I'm challenging them politically and supporting them individually. And then I think this is sort of a big thing, right? Youth development is often very social, and it's about the social and emotional needs of young people. Important, right? But everyone has social and emotional needs. And so when I think about myself as a youth organizer, I really think about the political needs and how that supports social and emotional needs. I'll stop there and see if there are questions about